That Metal Interview.
And we return with another installment of That Metal Interview. And thank you guys once again. Your friend James, fellow headbanger, fellow thrasher, fellow rocker. And we have a treat for all of you guys and girls that are into, I'm not sure if I should say black metal. Here is maybe some doom, suicidal metal, black metal for sure. Band by the name of GHOSTBATH. And this band has a brand new album by the name of Self-Loather, which I'm pretty sure you guys are going to enjoy this if you are into black metal. And of course, we all know there's a bunch of different subgenres under black metal. So this could be doom, it could be suicidal metal, it could be depressive, badass stuff. Anyways, we have Dennis Mikula, straight from North Dakota, straight from the land of GHOSTBATH, as they might say in Europe. And anyways, let's spin a song video, if you will, from GHOSTBATH. Their very, very latest badass song, badass fucking music. Convince Me to Bleed. Here's GHOSTBATH. We'll be right back. Talk about some awesome black metal, black, depressive, suicidal doom, whatever you might call it. As long as it pleases you, it's black metal. And let's go on to our interview with Dennis Mikula, frontman of the black metal band GHOSTBATH. Here it is, our interview with Dennis. Enjoy. So, new album, Self-Loather, out October 29th, Nuclear Blast, of course. The last installment of a trilogy, as I understand, right? Can you talk to us about this album?
Sure. Yeah. So it's the third and final part of the trilogy. I had planned the trilogy back in 2015 when I recorded Moon Lover, and that was the first part. It's basically supposed to cover the three basic human emotions, as stated by Mark Rothko, who's an artist that I really looked up to. He's like an abstract painter, and he said he tries to capture tragedy, ecstasy, and doom.
Wow.
And so
Cool.
that was kind of the order of the trilogy. So, Moon Lover was tragedy, and then Star Mourner was ecstasy, with like heaven and bright colors and stuff. And then this one's sort of the feeling of doom, not the genre. I know in metal that can get confusing, but
Yeah.
yeah, so sort of it's supposed to capture the feeling of doom and hatred, and that was the basic idea for this album.
Awesome. So, why a trilogy, and who came up with this idea?
So originally, I mean, the band was just me for a long time, and so I was the one that came up with this idea. I think the reason I picked a trilogy, I mean, I'm super into like fantasy novels and books, and a lot of authors will write a trilogy. So I kind of liked that idea, just having three parts, and it gave me something to sort of work towards and create. And so, yeah, before I recorded Moon Lover, I kind of planned it out. I was going to do 3 albums, and
Very cool.
Here we are today. Just finished it up.
Very, very cool. So, so why the name GHOSTBATH? For people asking, who came up with the name? You or?
Yeah. So I was in a previous band. Long story short, we were watching a movie that involved ghosts in a bathtub, and he said ghost bath. And as soon as I heard that, for some reason it just stuck with me, and I liked the sound of it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh, that's mine. Let me have it. And he was like, oh yeah. He's like, yeah, I don't care. And so yeah, I don't think he actually expected me to take it this far and actually make a band and everything with it. But yeah, I ended up doing that, and then I kind of gave it its own meaning. I like imbued the meaning. Like, I mean, language, you can make words mean whatever you want. So for kind of the depressive, suicidal black metal themes, the meaning is like drowning yourself, committing suicide, and the idea is you become a ghost or whatever in that position through water. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, when I first heard the name, I was like, wow, that's so cool. I mean, you think of the name, and well, a ghost is abstract. I mean, the spirit or whatever, and then, well, you can't take a bath, right? So that's very cool, man. I was just, damn, that's a genius name right there. Very cool, very cool. Awesome. So by now, everyone knows you're from North Dakota, right? So how did GHOSTBATH become a band from China? For people asking, I kind of know the story, but maybe if you want to tell some people that don't know how that came about.
Sure. When I originally started it was sort of just this side project. Like, I'd basically given up on trying to make it in music, and I went back to college, and I was just doing this on the side, and I wanted to upload my stuff to Bandcamp, and it wouldn't let me leave the location blank, and I didn't want like anyone to know who I was. So I just picked somewhere on the other side of the world, and it happened to be China. I mean, there was no real thought behind it at the time. I mean, it was just me making music on my computer by myself, so it wasn't a big deal. And then that kind of, when the band kind of took off and got more attention, and eventually when I signed to Nuclear Blast, I knew we'd have to play live shows and stuff like that, and so I kind of had to, reveal who I was, where I was from, because I didn't feel like hiding, like being a mask or something at every single show.
Right. Yeah.
So I was in North Dakota for the longest time. I just recently moved, actually, so I'm out here in Pennsylvania, and now the rest of the band all live in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
Yeah, I understand that. Wow. So why? I mean, excuse my ignorance. Why Minneapolis? How did that come about?
So like I said, the band was originally just me, and I needed
Yeah.
a live band once I signed a Nuclear Blast to go on tour. And these guys, I mean, I was in multiple previous bands to GHOSTBATH, and so were the other guys. And so when I knew I needed some musicians to play with, I had been on tour with their band multiple times, and I knew they were good musicians and good people. And so they were the first people I contacted. I was like, hey,
Oh,
I just signed a Nuclear Blast. Let's go on tour. We got to learn these songs. And so they were up for it. And the final member we got was our drummer, who I actually did not know before GHOSTBATH. But some of the members of the band said, hey, like, we know this drummer. He's pretty good. And yeah, so they all got him. And it was about an 8-hour drive from where I was in North Dakota. So it was kind of a haul, but I think it was better that way. It was easier to work with these guys than to try to find someone in my town of Minot. It's kind of a small town where I was.
North Dakota. Yeah. Yeah, I've been to Fargo. I'm in Texas, and I've been to Fargo. It's it's a college town. What's that city across Fargo?
Moorhead.
Moorhead. There you go, Moorhead, Minnesota. Anyways, sorry to get off the subject a little bit. So,
Yeah, Fargo's cool. The Fargo was about a 5-hour drive for me. I was like dead center of the state. I think Fargo is the biggest city in North Dakota. We were third or fourth, I think, largest. So we had like 50,000 people.
oh wow. So I guess everybody knows everybody, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
So, would you categorize GHOSTBATH to be a black metal or what? I know there's different subgenres. How would you categorize it?
To me, it's just my take on DSBM, which stands for Depressive Suicidal Black Metal. That was kind of the original idea with the band, and we don't sound exactly like other DSBM bands, but that was kind of the point. So yeah, if I had to classify us, that's what I'd pick.
Also, a lot of black metal bands or depressive, they're from Europe or different countries overseas, right? So, do you guys get treated differently because you're American, or is it the same treatment? Have you experienced anything like that?
Trying to think. I mean, in general, a lot of people like to say, oh, I only like true Norwegian black metal or European style.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I get that a little bit, but I think just the nature of the band, people kind of know what to expect by now, and I don't mind having sort of a more American sound to us. I think European black metal and European music in general, I can kind of tell just from listening to it that it is European. I think it has a little bit more of a folk background to it usually.
Yeah.
And I think in the U.S. probably has a lot more hardcore influence. I think that hardcore was just so big in the U.S. that it kind of bleeds through in a lot of music from the United States. So I don't see that as a problem. I think it's just this is where I'm from, so we're gonna sound this way, and it's just being honest with who you are and where you grew up and stuff.
So, changing subjects a little bit, you have a degree in psychology, as I understand. That's so cool, man. Very cool.
Yeah, that's when when I kind of gave up on music and I went back to school, and I didn't know what I wanted to get at first, and then I think I wanted to, I don't know, I switched around with a bunch of stuff. I was thinking I was going to work at like a mental hospital or something at one point, and then kind of halfway through my college years, GHOSTBATH started taking off, so I still ended up getting the degree, but I was very much focused on music because I was like talking to Nuclear Blast and stuff. So I'd show up to class, but I didn't really care.
Yeah.
But I think the psychology, it just interested me the most, and I find it very interesting, how people think and
yeah, for sure.
The perception of things.
Yeah.
So I kind of play with that with the visuals and music of GHOSTBATH, and and stuff like that. So I think it's helped me with like marketing and stuff like that. So I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been to school though in what is it, 6 years or something. So I don't remember
really?
most of it. But
Cool. That's very interesting. Wow. So take us back to the beginning of your career, if you will. How did you first know you wanted to be in a metal band?
So specifically for GHOSTBATH, the thing that sparked it was I was at a local record store called Budget Music and Video, and they have like a rack of new albums every week. And I saw just from the cover, there's a Agalloch album called Marrow of the Spirit, and I thought it looked really cool. Like it had sort of a painted nature cover, but then their logo was like etched into it. So I didn't know who the band was at the time, and I just picked it up on a whim and I put it in my car. I was with my friend and we turned it on, and I don't know, it just kind of blew my mind. Like the blast beats and the melody that they use. Like I still love Agalloch to this day, and so I think that was kind of the spark for me to start sort of a metal band like that. Because I remember when I first started GHOSTBATH, I kind of wanted a cello because they had a cello in the Agalloch album, and I had found somebody, but it never worked out. So instead, I used like a piano.
Yeah, to get those sounds. Yeah, cool, very cool. So a badass song with CJ of Thy Art Is Murder. How did that collab come about? Was it through Nuclear Blast, or was it? I know you guys toured before. Was it become friends, or how did that come about?
Yeah, we toured for almost 2 months through the U.S. and Canada with Thy Art Is Murder. It was Decapitated on that tour, Fallujah, and us. And awesome. Yeah, we just became friends with those guys. The guys in Thy Art Are actually with all those bands, but the guys in Thy Art Is Murder were really cool. And I remember CJ was really into us, and he was telling people to check us out at the time, and so I was like, okay, maybe he'd be interested when we were thinking of who we wanted to get to guest vocal on this album. And so I actually messaged him on Instagram, and he said he was down, and he was originally supposed to fly out to Minneapolis to do it with us, but because of the pandemic, he was stuck in Australia, and so I sent him the tracks there, and he recorded them in his studio with his producer and then sent them back. So that's how that worked out.
So what's on your playlist? What do you listen to? Do you listen to strictly metal, or do you listen to other genres, other type of music, country music or pop or something?
So right now, it's mostly a genre called Vaporwave because I run a record label called Geometric Lullaby. Okay. So yeah, it's like a dark ambient, electronic music, but I kind of listen to sort of darker stuff, kind of the same way I do with metal. So that's what I listen to mostly, just because I have to, work with the artists in that genre. I also do. Right now, I've been listening to a lot more new wave of British heavy metal, kind of like Iron Maiden, Judas Priest, that kind of stuff is what I've been into most recently.
Awesome music for a lot of people. Yeah. So give us your best gig and your worst gig so far.
Okay, well I know worst right off the bat. Oh man, there's this place. Oh fuck, what's the name of the town? It starts with an R. It's in Germany. Oh man. Okay, well I can't remember. It's in northern Germany, like right on the coast. There's this town that we've played in that we were on tour with Black Dahlia Murder and Dying Fetus, and at that show is just us and Dying Fetus, and it was like in the back of like a car shop or something. It was a very strange show, and there's like
really
3-4 people there for us and Dying Fetus. It was a very strange experience. But we had fun anyway, being on tour in Europe and stuff. But yeah, that might be the worst show we had. I wish I could remember the name. I know it starts with an R, and it'll probably come to me right after this. Best show, man, had so many cool shows.
So many cool shows,
I really like maybe Damnation Festival in Leeds in the UK. That was awesome. We played last on one of the stages. And like the room was just packed front to back, and the sound was really good, and the energy was awesome. And so, yeah, I think I was sick all day, so I just slept in the van until we played. So I didn't really get to experience the festival, but it was kind of cool. I just woke up, walked out backstage, got my guitar, and then went up, and it was just a great time.
Wow, awesome! What an experience! Wow. Would you like to send a message to your fans listening to this podcast?
I would just say, check out the album. Listen to, all the songs front to back is the way I kind of planned it out. So listening to the album as a whole, if you have the time, I would definitely recommend that. Just give it a try.
Awesome. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for making time, and appreciate it. And hope to see you down in Texas on tour, soon.
Yeah, thank you. It would be great to see you play down there. So thanks for having me on.
Speak of awesome newer bands. And yes, this black metal band is from the U.S., Minneapolis and North Dakota, to be more exact. And it is not from Sweden or Denmark or any of those European countries. And it's still some badass U.S. black metal, depressive doom, suicidal black, whatever you want to call it, man. So anyways, thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you for talking to us and chatting about your brand new album. And we thank you guys. The album's called Self-Loather. You guys can stream it, download it, and support Mr. Dennis Mikula and the rest of the gang at GHOSTBATH. So support GHOSTBATH. Go to their socials, share their videos, blah, blah, blah. You know what to do. And thank you guys for sharing our stuff. And thank you for following us and supporting that Metal Interview podcast. Thank you guys. And don't forget to keep it metal.
That metal interview.